Alright, good evening everybody. Doing something a little bit different tonight. I didn't think anybody was going to be on. And now, of course, people are starting to come on. But I'm already set for this, so we're going to play Final Fantasy tonight. At least I am. Hello, Kyle.
How's it going?
It's going. I just got done
Yeah?
saying to everybody on stream that I didn't think anybody was going to be on tonight. So I'm like, alright, then I'm just going to do something a little different tonight. I'm going to play Final Fantasy. So
Okay.
I'm already into it. But
Mm.
if you have any interest and you want to see what I'm doing, you are more than welcome to
Okay.
play Battle Boats and watch what I'm doing on stream, and you can kind of see if you're interested in any sort of way about Final Fantasy. You are welcome to discuss it with me while I'm playing.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody can see that.
I mean, the last Final Fantasy I played, I think, was Final Fantasy VII Tactics.
I never played Tactics,
Mm.
but I did play the first
Mhm.
Final Fantasy I ever played was Final Fantasy VII,
Mm-hmm.
and absolutely loved it. Tried playing 8, couldn't really get into it,
Yeah.
and then I haven't this. So then I guess it was on PlayStation. A friend of mine that I worked with was bugging me, oh, you should come play 14 because it's an MMO.
Right.
And I'm like, all right. So I figured, okay, I'll give it a try. I played it for like a month, because you needed a subscription and everything. Maybe I might have done it for 2, but I didn't keep it going. I'm pretty sure after the first month was when I stopped playing.
Yeah.
This is maybe 2016.
Yeah.
So it's been a while. And then maybe 2 months ago, they announced there was, the beta test. And you could play for free.
Oh.
I'm like, okay. Why not? What the hell? And
Right.
major improvements on the game. At least from how I remember it. Because I had played a mage back then, too. And, but I didn't get very far with it. So, this time with it being free, I'm like, okay, I'll spend some time. And,
Right.
really, really enjoyed it. Melt. What the fuck is that? And, yeah.
Because, let's see. I mean, one of the guys, when I went on deployment, one of the guys did have a Final Fantasy game. I just can't remember which one it was. 2011?
Hey, Reaper. What's up, buddy? I'm sorry. You were saying that right as chat got my attention. So I'm going to have to ask you
That's
to
all right.
repeat.
I mean, when I went on deployment, one of the guys also had a Final Fantasy game for his system. I can't remember exactly which one it was, so the time frame was around 2011.
Which system?
Uh,
Well, it had to be PlayStation. Because
Yeah.
Final Fantasy was a PlayStation exclusive. So probably PS2. Let's see, 2011, I'm going to say it was either 8 or 9.
probably. If I'm not mistaken, it was the one where, oh, what's her name? She was like a security guard or something like that.
I don't
But I know there was also one character. He's a black character, and almost what looked like army fatigues.
Yeah, it's definitely not 7, so it had to be 8 or 9,
Hmm.
which really I didn't play, so...
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it looked interesting, but never really got around to even playing it. So.
Final Fantasy it's really... I mean, they all kind of tie together in a certain way.
Hmm.
There are some similarities, but you really have to be into the whole mythos
Mm.
of Final Fantasy to really understand it, which I am not. So I can't really say much on that. But I know there are tie-ins.
Okay. So almost kind of like how it is with Metal Gear Solid, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, hi, thanks for checking in. I'm still a piece of garbage.
David dropping a like. Thanks, buddy.
Oh,
Yeah,
spoke to
there's
Parsley.
Steven.
How's it going?
Not bad, yourself?
Oh, not too bad.
Can't
How are
complain.
you?
Well, yeah, I'm not bad.
Some of the cutscenes are just text, and other parts it's actual voiceovers.
Mm-hmm.
Although I must say, my Black Mage looks very dapper.
That's how my Necromancer looks in Diablo.
Very dapper.
Yeah.
Terra Samurai now.
A word, if you would, good sir. This place, it is within the realm of Eorzea.
You're an odd-looking fellow, aren't you? Still, takes all sorts, I suppose. This here's Vesper Bay. Thanalan's door to the ocean, as some folk like to call it.
Which Final Fantasy are they on now? Is it 14, 15?
Am I to understand from your answer that I have indeed arrived in Eorzea?
16, I think.
I think my dad vaguely remembers playing like 5 or 6.
Yes? You're in Eorzea?
Ah! A plain response at last, and the one I wanted at that. My journey was not without its hardships, and I would sooner travel by
Yes,
land
it would be
than
16
put to
because
sea
15
again.
came out 3 years ago now, I think. At least it would be 3 years now.
You do not believe that so
I'm not sure
small a
when they came
bark
out.
could bear me across the ocean?
I've never really got on
Such
them type of
timid
games.
little sailors.
Although I am liking Diablo.
Though, it would perhaps have been wise to lay down my oars a moment to sup on more than the spray of brine water. By the trembling of my limbs, I sense a brief repast may be in order.
Really good.
Nay,
You're just gonna let me
I will
eat
not
something
hearken to
announced
the
good while
feeble
he's brought some?
grumblings of an empty belly. Do you?
I mean, a buddy of mine, I don't know if you guys have heard of it a lot or not, but it's a game called Lost Ark.
Good man. Are you alright?
PC game. Basically, it's like a different variation of Diablo.
Yeah.
Yep, it's like top down.
Thou art far indeed from home, friend.
He's been trying to get. I mean, I played it with him for a little bit, but haven't picked it up since. And that was like a year ago.
Oh, jeez.
But apparently, it's like it's a Korean game, South Korean game, and it just been out for a while. It just finally came up to the American market. But I mean, like I said, it's interesting to play. What was it? How'd it go? Can't remember if your character is summoned or brought back from the dead or something like that. And then then you get to choose your classes, which is 1, 2, 3. Oh no, there's 3 main classes and there's 2 subclasses for each. But mainly mine was a gun lancer. Basically, think of like a armored cavalry with a lance.
Yeah.
Running around on foot. And the lance looks like a lance, but there's a cannon at the end.
Like a blunderbuss.
Yes, a blunderbuss. But I mean, not just like any blunderbuss. It's
Dear
like literally
friends,
just
pray accept
the
my
barrel
heartfelt
itself is
thanks for your
attached
efforts in
to
defense
or
of Gridania's
imbued
borders.
into the lance.
I would fain dwell longer on my
Yeah.
gratitude for the support
I
of
mean,
the
you can still run
Alliance,
around and you can
but the
melee
situation at
enemies and all like
Belsar's
that, but then
wall
all of a sudden
demands that
you
we
switch over
forego
to the
such
attack and then
pleasantries.
you can just simply boom.
Yeah.
hmm
According to our most recent intelligence, the cocoon of light that formed in the air above the wall remains undimmed and unbroken. After
But
measuring
true
the cocoon's
to an
etheric
MMO,
concentrations,
there's
Archon
a
Y'shtola
lot
has
of crap to
confirmed
deal
the
with.
presence of a primal entity.
So we must assume that Ilbert's thrice damned god is indeed trapped within. And what news of the Imperials? They're not like to ignore such a spectacle.
Sir, a Garlean airship was observed making an approach, but the vessel was destroyed when it drew near. The Empire appears to have made no subsequent attempts to reach the object.
The soldiers who witnessed the incident spoke of a lance of light issuing from within the cocoon, of an entire warship being reduced to smoking ruin in the space of a moment. Veterans of Cartano, meanwhile, likened the destruction to that wrought by the fiery wrath of Bahamut.
We could face another calamity.
So the Primal is awake then? Contained, yes, but for how long? We must destroy it now, lest it break free.
Agreed. There is, however, the small matter of how to get close enough to a being that swats warships from the sky as you would a bothersome gnat.
Is this truly so complex a puzzle? Or have you no stomach for the obvious solution?
What in the hells are you doing here?
A pleasure to see you too, Garland. Now, if you'd be so kind as to explain to these good people why you should be begging me for my assistance, that would be most appreciated.
Who is this man?
Oh, how terrifically rude of me. Nero Tolskeva, former tribunus of the 14th Legion of the Garlean Empire. These days, however, one might say that I'm something of a free agent.
What do you want, Nero?
I was getting to that. Although you already know what I'm about to propose, old friend. As you have rather belatedly realized, within that frail binding lurks an entity alike in strength to the great Bahamut, and the only force in existence which might conceivably contend with such a foe is the very creation which captured the Elder Primal in the first place. I speak, of course, of Omega.
Omega? That hulk has been gathering dust beneath the plains of Cartanow since the Allagans breathed their last. And none alive knows how to wake it.
I'm sorry? Do you understand who it is with whom you have the privilege of speaking? I'm Nero Tolskeva, Master Engineer, the mechanical genius who restored the Ultima weapon to full operational capacity. And as luck would have it, I am graciously offering you the use of my considerable expertise.
And what, you just expect us to accept? You're a fool if you think your deeds at the Crystal Tower are enough to win my trust, Nero.
Trust? You wound me, Garland. All those years studying side by side at the Academy, sharing both trial and triumph, we were countrymen once, you and I. But sentiment aside, have you a better solution? Or do you mean to send in your vaunted hero there, as you always do, and pray the world is not engulfed in flame? Let us approach the problem in a rational manner. Does not the fact that Omega slumbers in stasis point to the existence of some overriding technology? A means of control?
I would ask a question, if I may. Nero, was it not? In the event that we succeeded in using Omega to shackle the Primal in the manner you propose, what then would become of it? Do we not risk repeating the mistakes of the Allagans?
Omega is but a tool. How we choose to employ that tool is entirely up to us. Of course, if you would rather leave it buried beneath Cartano while you continue your petty squabbles above, then I suppose that is also your choice.
Spare us, Nero. The Seedseer's concern is a valid one. He who controls Omega wields the power of the gods, the very power which led the Allagans to destroy themselves.
And does it not fall to we engineers to prevent such misuse? What was your company's proud slogan? Freedom through technology?
A creed you follow, is it? What say you? Do we take this villain at his word? As will I. I don't like it, but then it doesn't look like we have much choice. Would the Council be willing to entrust this matter to a pair of former Imperials?
Yes. The task of restoring the Allagan relic will be yours. But the responsibility for its reawakening must remain with the Council. Do we condone this course of action?
Aye. 'Twould seem we do. Let the record show that we invest this contingent with the authority to enter Cartano and take command of Omega. Sid, I appoint you leader of the expedition. Scions, I would ask that you assign some few of your number to escort
Hi, thanks for
Master
checking in.
Garland.
I'm still a piece of garbage.
Other one.
Morgan dropping a like. Thanks, buddy.
We should be happy to oblige. The politics of Cartano being what they are, I dare say our neutrality will prove useful in avoiding any unnecessary entanglements.
If I am not mistaken, Doma occupies a similarly neutral position. Might we not persuade you to join the expedition, Lady Yugiri? If you suspected any foul play from Nero, you would be welcome to kill him.
My blade is yours.
Not a moment's hesitation, eh? You'll forgive me if I do not shake your hand.
See if I can progress any further in Diablo.
Playing MMOs is nice in a way because I really don't have to say much of anything.
Yeah.
Unless somebody asks me a question or whatever, but chat's quiet, people are watching, and I'm content. One thing that's rather funny in this version of Final Fantasy, there's an airship that you fly around on quite a bit with your company of heroes, so to speak. And guess what the name of the ship is? It's the Enterprise.
I'm guessing something funny.
The Enterprise.
The Enterprise. And it got an upgrade at one point during the game, so it's called the Enterprise Excelsior. What a fucking Star Trek ripoff. I was like, oh my god, you've got to be kidding. But, you know, the Enterprise was one thing, but then when they call it Enterprise Excelsior, I'm thinking, holy shit. Somebody from Paramount's got to be like all up and down their shit about that right now.
I mean, at least they didn't call it Enterprise Excelsior.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's that. Really, game, you tell me to go one side of the map, now you're telling me I've got to walk to the other side of the map just to get to my other waypoint. Okay, now.
Isn't that funny how that works?
Yeah.
Yeah. Luckily enough in this one you can teleport to places you've already been, so there is that. Walk about 200 meters and you're at your location. think another thing that I like about this Diablo is PvP is not enabled. So you can walk around and not get killed by them.
Yeah, fellow player.
So these are the fabled headquarters
there's
of the
specific
Scions.
areas you have to go to.
I
if you
confess I
want
would have
PvP.
expected an order of self-proclaimed warrior scholars to surround themselves with the fruits of man's enlightenment.
I think that's one thing I do like.
Yet there's not
about
so
this
much as a single piece of magitech in sight. It never ceases to amaze me how primitive you Eorzeans truly are.
Oh, I'll have you know that the Rising Stones is home to the very latest in magitech innovation. Wedge calls it the Mark 14 Thermocoil Boil Master, and it's the finest kettle I've ever had the pleasure to own.
We are returned. Well, Ida and I, at least. Ishtola and the others remain behind to continue their assessment of the binding magic.
There didn't seem much point staying just for that, so I decided to come back with Alphino. Papalimo bought us this time. We shouldn't waste it.
By your leave!
Good gods, that voice could fell a gigas.
This is the Rising Stones, domicile of the Scions of the Seventh Dawn. I enter at the invitation of one Lord Urianger. I spy you there, Shadow Walker. You always were a hard one to find.
Yugiri, do you know this man?
Gosetsu, why are you come to Eorzea?
In search of you, Yugiri. For days and nights did I row across the angry sea. I made port in good spirits, only for my own flesh to betray me over the trifling matter of an empty belly. Collapsed in the street like an unfed stray I was, until Lord Urianger came to my aid. Over a most welcome meal, we spoke of the plight of Doma, and I learned of our displaced countrymen's work to resettle this blighted land. 'Twas blind fortune that I was able to locate you so swiftly. But now we must make ready to depart. Our master languishes in dire peril, and Doma calls her daughter home.
It is not so simple, Gosetsu.
You refuse? Did you mislay your oath during your flight from our homeland? The laws of hospitality must be honored, but surely the vow to defend your master demands the greater obeisance.
It was our master who bid me guide our people to safe haven by any means necessary. And it was the Scions you see before you who provided us succor and sanctuary when all others refused. Dire peril or no, were I to return without first repaying such hospitality, our master would cut me down at the threshold.
Mayhap that is so.
There is more. A crisis threatens all within this realm, Eorzean and Doman alike, and I go to play my part in its resolution. I will not bring shame upon our liege by abandoning my people or my duty.
How very noble of you. Now, in the name of honor, kinship, and, yes, practicality, might I suggest we get this expedition underway? Or would you rather debate the finer points of duty and leave Omega to the Empire?
The Empire? Yugiri, you draw steel against the curse of Garlemald? Then why did you not say so? My blade is oath-bound to fall upon the ranks of the Imperials wheresoever they march. Lead on, Shadow Walker, and may the enemy tremble at our coming.
Some of the reactions these characters give us is hysterical. Some of the mounts people have in this game are crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, finally, I get to do some fighting. It's been story this whole time. Which is fine. I mean, the story's good, but like, holy fuck.
Now, where was that? enabled the teleporter. One brief jump and we shall arrive in Omega's control room.
How convenient. You've been here before.
Of course. It was no easy task threading a path through all the skirmishes. But how could I ignore the existence of such a fascinating toy? You may trust that my preliminary examination was suitably thorough.
Trust? Aye. I trust your appetite for technology.
I chased down a suspect airship, and who should I find but the traitor, Sid Garland. Searching for something, engineer? Something big? It's close, isn't it? It's like all my name days have come at once.
Of all the scouts the Empire could have sent. Take care of that brute, will you?
God damn it. Can't let Nero tinker around in there by himself. I'm sorry to leave you to it, but I dare say you'll manage without me. This clod has no idea who he's dealing with.
I am Gosetsu, Samurai of Doma. You will rue your choice of opponent this day.
You watching, Pavolino? Leave this to me.
With soul and steel.
It's all over now.
Your defense is lacking. Leave this to me.
The boss I'm currently fighting against, I can only describe as a giant evil maggot. Jewelry all
No holding back.
I'm just sitting here playing Dead Space.
It's all over now. No retreat. No surrender.
Look upon a samurai of Bama!
Oh yeah, that's not an that's just a doll just sitting there staring at me.
Oh yeah, that's totally awesome. That's yeah.
Dude.
Okay, that was an easy fight.
I wish I could say that for half of mine. All my little mission objective says is descend down to the gates of hell with your allies.
Temporal stasis disengaged. All systems operational. Garland?
All clear on this side. It's waking up.
Remarkable. Omega sensors
Into hell I go.
immediately detected the presence of the cocoon, even at this distance. They must have been set to scan for sources of energy exceeding certain magnitudes.
I still don't see any means to control the machine directly. It seems to have been designed to act wholly autonomously. Once we release Omega, we can be fairly certain it will attempt to capture the Primal at Belsar's Wall. Assuming its mission is successful, our only option at that point will be to re-engage its stasis system and put it back to sleep.
And should the machine happen to misbehave, we'll simply initiate an emergency shutdown. I confess, we don't yet have a complete grasp of its capabilities, but I'm certain the details will not elude us for long.
Well, I understood less than half of that. So, my question to you is, are we doing the right thing?
By the sounds of that, you've either just
I
died or get scared by
suppose
something.
not.
Walking down a corridor and all of a sudden all power goes out while Ishimura just violently shakes.
Nah, that's a no from me.
Yeah.
All right. Step aside, Sid. Is this the thing I need to press?
Yes, that's the one.
You gave too much for us to waste this chance, Papalimo. So this is for you. And me.
Yes! The launch sequence has begun. Omega is loose.
Save station. let me clear everything out. Area.
Huh? Omega has stopped transmitting. But that shouldn't be. I didn't engage the stasis system.
And what does this signify? I have little understanding of these contrivances.
The launch went exactly to plan, but all signals emanating from Omega have ceased. This may indicate any number of things, but we will need to join the Scions out in the field if we are to ascertain which one.
Right. I've ordered the malfunctioning beast to go to sleep. That should prevent any unfortunate mishaps. I suggest we make our way back to Gridania.
Fucking knew it.
Omega destroyed the cocoon. Papalimo's spell is fading. It was bound to his ether, you see. And if the connection is broken...
My friends, I cannot well express how glad I am to see you both unharmed.
You need not have worried. The battle took place far above the ground. We were able to observe in relative safety, though I'm given to understand that there were casualties on the far side of the wall.
It was like watching a nightmare unfold before our very eyes. Ilbird's primal manifested in the form of a colossal dragon, a being of pure violence. It burst forth from the cocoon with such terrible force.
Why do you say that, Lee? What level are you at now?
That such a horror should spring from the eyes of Nidhogg comes as no surprise. Nor do I wonder at its form. Ilberd all but announced it in the moments prior to his death.
Oh, you're not that far
it was his
behind.
dying wish to visit a second calamity upon the Empire.
What are you playing as?
And I am quite certain the abomination would have obliged had it not found itself outmatched by a mega. Gods! I am no stranger to the works of Alag, but even I was unprepared for the machine's furiosity. It beggared belief.
Oh, you're a warrior. Nice.
And how fares poor Ida in the midst of all this? Have you spoken with her?
She is up on the platform, lost in thought. We deemed it best not to disturb her, but mayhaps she would welcome some company after all. Shall we?
The light's gone. It was all we had left of him.
Ida.
I don't blame anyone. I knew what was going to happen. I knew the spell Papalimo meant to cast would drain away his life force. I knew that it would only buy us a little time.
Ida, there is no need to explain.
But there is. I can't hide in Papalimo's little shadow anymore, and I shouldn't hide behind my sister's mask. 20 years ago, on the day the Empire marched into Alamigo, I was still just a child, not even 5 summers old. My father had been one of the leaders of the revolution. He had fought to overthrow the Mad King, Theodoric. And my sister had fought alongside him. But she was strong and kind, and always knew what to do. But when the Garleans came, everything changed. My father went to war against them too, and I never saw him again. After that, I remember a lot of running. My sister dragged me for malms and malms until we came to the city of Charlian. That was where she met Master Louis Soir. He introduced her to the Circle of Knowing, and she eventually became an Archon.
She was your inspiration. Is that not why you took up her mask and her name? Or did you simply mean to continue what she had started?
You've known all along, haven't you? That I wasn't Ida.
Of course. We all recognized you at once. 'Twas Papalimo who persuaded us to maintain the charade.
It was silly to think I could fool you. I knew that even then, but I sort of decided not to know. Ida died 6 years ago. on a mission to smuggle refugees out of Alamigo. They say she was overwhelmed by Imperial soldiers when she stayed behind to save a little girl. She was so strong. There must have been a lot of them.
This, this particular part that I'm at in the game is the expansion, Heavensward. This is after the first story, well after the first story's finished.
I'm sorry for lying to you. My real name is Lise. When Papalimo brought me Ida's mask, it was meant as a keepsake, but I decided I wanted to be his new partner, to keep alive all the good that she had done. I didn't want to become Ida, exactly. At the time, though, I still didn't know who I was myself, and it almost seemed easier to play the role. Papalimo agreed to help, of course, but it was never what he wanted for me. He wanted me to walk my own path, and those were his final words to me. The Archon's mark he gave me is faded, and my last excuse along with it. So this is it. Whatever I choose to do from now on, I do as Lise. And I choose to continue my family's fight. I want Alamigo to be the country that Ida and my father always wanted it to be.
War is upon us once more.
Do you regret standing against the Empire? Would you have chosen a different road, knowing what you know now?
To claim that I never doubted the decision would be a lie. But I made my choice, and I have defended it with blade in hand ever since.
Yeah, the ultimate fight is a long one. That really is a long one. That fight you can do with NPCs all the way up through the end of that. It isn't until afterwards there are going to be some things you'll have to queue up with other players. The best times, when you get to those points, the best time to do it is going to be at night. Or at least, you know, late afternoon, evening hours. Or on the weekend when a lot of people are around. You won't have long queue times. I think the longest I've had to wait is like 15 minutes. For one of the ones. To start up. And then once you get through basically you're going to get introduced to raids where you have 24 players. That's actually easy compared to the fights that you're doing now when you get in with the raids. There's some little things you have to do. It might be worth looking up a fight or two, like on YouTube, just how to do certain things. It's not labor intensive, like if you were playing something out of Destiny where it's all these fucking puzzles you gotta do, which always drove me crazy.
It's a game I've never been on with.
Destiny.
Yeah.
I love it. I really do. But I've never raided because it's just so puzzle heavy and things you have to do. It's just, to me, it's not worth the headache. I did more.
I used to have a.
Go ahead.
It's okay. You carry on.
It's the only thing you're really going to get out of raid. When you're getting raid gear, it's just to do more raids. Better gear so you can do more DPS. More or less.
Yeah,
you know, getting certain what's the term? I can't. Oh, well, let's just say legendary weapons and that. But it's just, it's so insane. Those raids, yeah, it's just not worth the headache. Even like World of Warcraft and those where you get into a raid and you've got 24 people to deal with, and God forbid if you're not using the specific macro or doing this or doing that or standing here or standing there, it's just I hated it. That's why I don't do raids and that shit, because it's just so much BS. And there are people that do nothing but sit in their basement and do that day in, day out. And, you know, like, that's what they have to be proud of in their life. And, you know, and good for them. It's not me. I don't have the patience for it. I think it's dumb. So I just carry on doing something else.
Yeah, I used to have a friend of mine who used to play Destiny all day, every day, and he did no raids for about 2 years. Then I thought, oh, what happens if I join one? Then he constantly joins them. So yeah.
Yeah, thankfully when it comes to Final Fantasy, at least as far as how it is in here, they know, they seem to get it. They get people like me that don't want to jump through hoops.
Yeah.
And all you have to do, and if some big attack or something's going to happen, it shows on the floor, and you have enough time to react. To find that spot, or you've recognized the pattern easily enough that if two circles where an attack is going to happen to overlap, one will happen before the other one does. So you can stand in one circle, let the one attack happen, and then run to the empty spot while the next attack happens, and miss them both. Sometimes it happens quickly, but it's not often. And if you do get hit, you're not going to get killed. So, and if you do, you're going to get rezzed. So, it's not really, it's not a big deal.
Kind of a win-win situation.
Yeah, yeah. There's really no way you can lose. And if your whole team happens to get wiped in like a regular party type mission, depending on the particular fight, you get a boost to your damage to help you get through the sequence all over again. So it's not really a bad thing.
The battle continues, and our steel is needed. Come, Shadow Walker, we leave for the east, for Doma.
As long as you have a good healer, Lee, you don't have anything to worry about. As long as you're holding on to the ads by taunting him, you're fine.
Ooh.
Yeah. Well, that's perfect timing then, because while the credits roll and this does its thing, I need a potty break. I'll be right back.
Echoes of truths that once rang clear. Two souls intertwined, one true love they did find, bringing land and heavens near. But flames that burn full bright soon fell dark. Memories dimmed by shadowed hearts. In the waxing gloom did wane the lover's moon, watching as their worlds drift apart. One soul's cry, a passion welling within. Sacrifice, a final plea to her kin. Yet this bond of hope by treachery was broke, scattering her words to the wind. Swelling over long seas of blood are a song, and death an afterthought to those who fight for none alone, lying empty.
Watch, we're getting some spoilers here, Lee.
The question is, how will the Empire respond to the disappearance of Omega and the Primal? Oh, I didn't see you there. Forgive me. Word from Baelsar's wall is proving long in the coming, and my mind cannot help but stray to grim places.
Alphino, a message from the Alliance.
It's about time. Pray summon the others at once.
Yes, sir.
General Uldin reports that his forces have secured the breach in Baelsar's wall.
And what of the Primal and Omega?
There is still no sign of either at this time. He writes that they will begin a more thorough investigation shortly. And, as expected, he wishes to petition the aid of the Scions of the Seventh Dawn.
As expected.
The Alliance's decision to capture a part of Baelsar's wall is open to interpretation.
The wall serves to demarcate Imperial territory, Alamigo included, from the rest of Eorzea. To an observer, the Alliance's actions could be seen as a prelude to invasion.
Indeed. And the Alliance leaders have no wish to be branded invaders.
You're saying they won't fight for Alamigo? Even after everything that's happened?
Not without the consent of her people, no. Make no mistake, Lys. The Alliance is in complete agreement that the Empire must be purged from Eorzea. However, they will not set foot in Gyr Abania until they have formally secured the consent and cooperation of the Alamegan opposition.
They would have us act as intermediaries.
Precisely. The Scions are uniquely qualified to serve in this capacity. That is to say, Lys's, given her personal connection to the Resistance. Who better than you to broker an agreement between the Alliance and the people of Alamigo? Assuming you are willing, of course.
Of course I am. You know I'd like nothing more.
As for who should accompany you on said diplomatic mission, I had a mind to volunteer myself.
Well, that covers the talking part. But you just know there'll be trouble along the way. Are you available? Thanks. It means a lot knowing you'll be there.
I too shall accompany you. Such endeavors are seldom hampered by a surfeit of healers.
Good point. Allow me to offer my services as well.
I have spent quite enough time here of late, so I'll be coming. But we will need someone to keep an eye on things. I trust you have no objections?
None, my lady. Gladly shall I continue to serve as caretaker of the Waking Sands, and there keep watch for signs of primal and Ascian activity both.
As capable as my learned friend undoubtedly is, there are some troubles that may prove too much for a single scion, on account of which I mean to stay.
It is settled then. Let us each see to our preparations.
Well, that's going to do it for me tonight, fellas, and I shall hopefully see you tomorrow.
Alrighty, sir. Have yourself a good
As I
night.
gotta walk the... yeah, I gotta go and walk the dog, so... Right, I've seen a bit.
Don't let him drag you around.
I'll try not to. I've seen a bit.
See ya.
Ready, my friend? Well then. Tataru, I leave the rising stones in your capable hands.
Don't worry, Alphino. I'll see that the place is still standing when you come back.
Mistress Y'shtola has unfolded all. You are bound for Gyr Abania?
Aye. The Alliance would have us make contact with the Alamegan Resistance as soon as possible.
It begins then. As soon it shall in Doma, if the gods are good. 'Tis but a pity it must be now. I am sorry that we shall not be present to fight beside you in the battles to come.
You have stood with us countless times, Lady Yugiri. Pray do not apologize.
Then let us thank you instead. You and yours stood with us from the first, when we came to this land as refugees in search of sanctuary. Loath am I to think what might have become of my people, had you not extended to us the hand of friendship. We will never forget. This I solemnly swear.
Much has changed since first you set foot on these shores. Revenant's Toll stands as a testament to that. I am sure your people will manage in your absence.
Indeed. They have built a new home for themselves and no longer need me to shepherd them. The time has come for Kosetsu and I to return to our master, to our home.
I know how you feel. It's time I went home too.
Though our battlefields be 1,000 mounds apart, our purpose is one. Let all men hearken to the clarion call of freedom, of liberation, from Eorzea to the far east, that they may rise up and cast down the curse of Garlemald.
Take care, you hear me? When all of this is over, we're going to celebrate, together. Just you wait.
I should like that very much. Fare you well.
I remember crossing the border, standing in Girabania once more. Me and my fellow scions, the warrior of light among us. Behind us, Baelsar's wall cutting the land in two. Freedom on one side, tyranny on the other. tyranny, and the promise of a new beginning. But one that could only be bought with flames and blood. I remember the old stories. How the Breaker of Worlds came down from on high and cleft the earth with a single blow. Ralga's Reach, a holy place, and a fitting home for the Resistance, for the brave and the true, the loyal sons and daughters of Alamigo. They were waiting for us there, men and women whose souls still cried out for what was lost, for what could be ours again.
Allow me to welcome you once more to Ralga's Reach, our humble headquarters. My name is Conrad Kemp, and I have the dubious honor of overseeing operations here.
It is a pleasure to meet you, Master Kemp. I am Alphino Leveilleur of the Scions of the Seventh Dawn, as are my comrades. Before I speak of our purpose here, pray allow me to thank you for sheltering Ida, forgive me, Lys, and Papalimo at great risk to yourselves.
No, there's no need for that. They risked their necks for us enough times. 'Twas the least we could do.
I wanted to, I mean, about the mask and...
Don't fret over that. You're not the first person to take up arms against the Empire under a false name. We'd do the same if we had any sense. My condolences for your loss, child.
Papalimo laid down his life to save us, to give us a chance to make a better future for ourselves. There will never be a better time to drive the Garleans from our lands. But we have to take the lead on this. We can't leave it to fanatics like Ilberd.
More than a few of our people were taken in by his promises. Followed him all the way to the wall. Good men and women who never came back. When Monago told us what had happened, how the bastard had made sacrifices of them for his twisted ritual, by Rolger it filled me with an unholy fury. But what's done is done. Best we can do now is see that it wasn't all in vain.
That is why we are here today, sir, to see that some good comes of this tragedy. On behalf of the Eorzean Alliance, we do hereby extend a formal offer of military assistance to the Alamegan resistance.
Do you now? Well, go on then. I'm sure there's more to it than that. So that's the way of it, eh? The Alliance, hoping to avoid a direct confrontation with the superior forces of the Empire, wishes to engage them by proxy with our vastly inferior ones. My comrades and I must confer on your proposal. A moment, if you please.
Of course, Master Kemp. Take all the time you require.
Still there, Will?
I am indeed.
Okay. Sorry. Had to go get some dinner.
No, you're fine. Where I'm at now, of course, the fighting I was doing is long over. It's very story-driven.
I figured that. Yeah, like I said earlier, as I'm playing Dead Space, which is the remastered version. There's a lot more. There's a lot of jump scares I completely forgot about. Like it was, like I just said, around the coordination, you know, all the power just goes out. Controller starts vibrating. You're seeing the hall start moving and everything like that. It's like, oh shit.
Thank you all for waiting. We have reached a consensus. I, Conrad Kemp, do hereby accept the Eorzean Alliance's proposal. You must understand, however, that our cooperation comes with certain caveats.
Those caveats being...
I take no joy in this, just so you know. Were it within my power, I'd offer you more assistance. But the Resistance is far more fragmented than you realize. The men and women in my care belong to but one of many factions. Simply put, I can only speak for the people of Rolga's Reach. Now, I have every intention of appealing to the others, and I expect many will agree. But it will take time, and I cannot guarantee universal support.
Understood. I shall see that the Alliance is under no misapprehensions as to your position.
Much obliged. But that's not the whole of it. As you can imagine, the loss of those who cast their lot with the Griffin left us short on numbers. Some of our most trusted veterans died at the wall, and we've had to fill their posts with the young and inexperienced. Frankly, everything's in a right bloody mess.
Oh, we'd be more than happy to help you get back on your feet. If we're going to work together, we'll be doing ourselves a favor.
Well, there's no shortage of work to be done, that's for sure. We're in dire need of new blood, too.
Ishtola and I could lend a hand in the infirmary. From what I saw, they could do with a few more healers.
Very well. I, for my part, shall return to the Rising Stones. I'm certain there are others among the Scions who would welcome the opportunity to fight for Alamegan liberation.
Is there anything else we can do to help?
I had something else in mind for you, lot. Monargo and Mefrid will tell you more.
Understood. We won't let you down.
Alright. I think this is probably as good a time as any before I get into another in-depth story.
Right.
I will end the stream on that note.
Alright, buddy.